Warning. This video blog or vlog may contain harsh language and opinions that are not necessarily in line with YouTube or its partners or affiliates. YouTube does not openly endorse the content of this vlog. All opinions are expressly those of Ranting Ramsay and do not reflect on the opinions or values of YouTube, its affiliates, or its parent or partner companies.
Greetings, Internet people. Ranting Ramsay here. How are you all doing today? Yeah, a decent amount to talk about with this one, so I'm going to try to make it relatively concise. Obviously, we're doing a rant request. This was sent to me by Rock and Roll Must Live, and he sent me this article that was basically entitled, the rough gist of it anyway, is 10 Lies We Should All Tell to Our Children. The title alone got me kind of scratching the back of my head and going, huh? And let me explain why I feel that way is, I've never really been a big proponent of lying to children for any reason, really. And I understand that the point of things like this, the article, we'll get into why, but I understand the point of things like the article that we're going to get into here is basically to shelter our children and let them lead blissfully ignorant, happy childhoods. Which, to a degree, I agree with. Children should be free to be children to a certain degree. But there comes a point where we have to really think about the lies that we tell to our children and the long-lasting after effects that they can potentially have. Now, as some of you may be able to tell, I had a relatively straightforward upbringing. I didn't get told a whole lot of lies aside from maybe Christianity, but that's a whole other ballgame altogether. And I turned out pretty damn well. I don't feel that I need to go back and try to relive my childhood or anything like that because of the way my parents didn't shelter me and let me have a blissfully ignorant child. No, I feel fine. And so, I'm not that exceptional of a human being, so I can't see why other people wouldn't have the same end result. So I don't really support the lying to of children on various levels. I don't know, Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny, I'm really on the fence about. Stuff like that just really seems pointless to me, but it also seems relatively harmless. But some of the stuff on this list, which we're just now getting ready to get into, just made me blow my mind. The first one is kind of a combination of a relevant lie and an irrelevant lie. And the first one that they have is, quote, "The tooth fairy called. She said, the way you're behaving, you may as well keep the tooth." Well, if you're perpetuating the idea of a tooth fairy, then I guess that's some sort of deterrent for a child or some reason to make them behave more properly. But what about just good parenting? What about, honesty, being honest with your child and having good, meaningful communication with them? Seems like that would be more effective than lying, which is going to be really the central theme here. Moving on to the next one, it says, monsters like to eat dust bunnies. I bet you're going to get lots of monsters in this room, insinuating that your child's room is extremely messy. So fear is the element there. Fear. Control your child through fear and their base imagination, their imaginary fear of the unknown and of monsters and of things like that. So get your child to clean their room out of fear, because your parenting techniques obviously don't work with logic and reason and just being honest and communicating with your child, I guess, is the point they're trying to make there. Moving on to number 3, Mommy and Daddy aren't fighting, we're rearranging the kitchen. I was fully reticent of the fact that my parents were having arguments when I was 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. I guess I'm the exception in the case that it didn't really bother me. It didn't put some fear of anything or some sense of dread. Because I don't know, I made the association that my sister and I fought constantly. We yelled, we screamed, we beat each other up. So it didn't seem that strange to me that my mom and dad would occasionally argue, so why you would need to wrap a lie around it. I mean, unless you're like beating the shit out of each other in front of your child, then yeah, maybe you need to rethink things. But the occasional verbal argument, in my personal opinion, as long as you keep it under control, there's no reason to lie to your child about the fact that you and your spouse are arguing. They give your child more credit for being intelligent and being able to understand the fact that mommy and daddy disagree sometimes. And that's one of the kind of thing I want to address at the not quite at the halfway point here, is that a lot of this list seems to be based around the idea that our children aren't intelligent enough to understand the truth, which is a big problem for me, because children are a lot more intelligent than we adults want to give them credit for. Sure, they may do stupid things. They may not understand or view the world that in the way in which we do, which results in us questioning their behavior at times. But on the general average, your children are a lot more intelligent than you are giving them credit for as a parent. Moving on. Mommy and daddy aren't fighting. We're playing leapfrog on the bed without our clothes. There's got to be a better way to explain being caught in the act of copulation. Moving on. Don't worry, sweetie, that can't happen here. And this is one I have the biggest problem with, and it's referring to like crime and stuff that they may see on the news or something in a movie that involves crime or murder or something like that. I see that as potentially being a lot more damaging than helpful in the long run, because then that's when you get these naive fucking idiots who, when crime happens in their neighborhood as adults, they go, I didn't think that kind of thing happens here. Crime is everywhere. Murder happens everywhere. Big cities, small towns, suburbs, rural environments. Murder happens everywhere. People are violent, and they like to harm, or at least the deranged ones anyway, like to harm their fellow human beings. This is a fact of life. It is reality. And to shelter your child with the statement of that can't happen here is not the right course of action. Of course, you don't want to sit a 4-year-old down and try to explain that some people have a tendency to murder other people, and that can happen here, because of course, then the child is going to be terrified. But I don't think the outright lie of that can't happen here is appropriate either. That just seems like creating this sense of naivete that just doesn't need to be there. Give your child more credit for being intelligent than that. The next one is, I know everything. The child's going to eventually discover that that is not true. Why build up the lie and then the downfall? Because then when they realize that you don't know everything, you become that much less of a figure of authority or of anything like that in their life, because you've built, I know everything, and then when it's proven that you don't know everything, boy, do you look like a lying jackass. Not only do you look like an idiot, but you look like a liar. I mean, that's one thing that this whole list seems to forget, is that your child is going to eventually figure out that you've been lying to them. And when the things that my parents did lie to me about, I did hold some resentment. I was like, and my main thing was, why didn't you think I was intelligent enough to handle the truth? Here's a fun one. That guy is homeless because he didn't eat his vegetables. Come on. Let's not downplay the plight of lesser fortunate individuals as a ploy to get your child to eat their fucking broccoli. Period. Moving on. I'm not afraid is the number 9 lie that we should be telling our children. I think it's actually more beneficial that you tell your children, yes, I am afraid, but I'm dealing with it. I'm afraid, but I don't look afraid. That's called courage. Telling your child that you are not afraid is not giving your child a sense that you are courageous, because that is a lie. Courage is acting in the face of fear. Courage is not being fearless. So what was the fucking movie long ago? There was a movie called Angus, about this fat, unpopular, nerdy, scientific, geeky kid who is like it's a teen movie about him being, bullied and ostracized and whatnot. Now, this is his grandfather that basically tells him, because the kid says he wishes that he could be Superman. And the grandfather says, why? Superman is a coward. And the kid asks him to explain this. He says, well, Superman has nothing to fear. He's invincible. It doesn't take courage to act when you know you cannot be harmed. It is action in the face of fear that defines courage. When you know you can be harmed, when you know you can be damaged, when you know you can have a negative outcome for the situation, you still find the strength to move forward. That is courage. Lying to your child and telling them that you're not afraid is not the right answer. Tell them that you are afraid, but you're strong enough to move forward anyway, and they will see that that is what courage truly is. Number 10, quote, "This is mommy's special juice, and it's poison to children." Insinuating that with child rearing comes alcoholism. That's just, I don't know. Once again, we should be more honest with our children than that. It's mommy's special juice. It's mommy's special drink. It's not poison to children, but you can't have it because I said so. Period. Don't fucking lie to your kids. This is just ridiculous. It's just simply fucking asinine. The point that this article is trying to make, in my personal opinion. I don't think at any point in time is lying to our children really the right answer. We need to give our children more credit for being intelligent than the mentality of this article is presenting. It just seems silly and stupid to me. I'm looking forward to see what you people have to say about it. I'm Ranting Ramsay. That is all.
Hey, did you get all that, man?
Douche.